Hey everybody, Payments Professor here, and I want to take a minute to talk to you about a conference I attended earlier this year, NYCE 2019, which was presented by T-Manny, or the Treasury Management Association of New York. This was an outstanding conference. Had a lot of fun, learned a lot, made a lot of videos that you've probably seen that went over some of the individual classes. Well, what I've done is I've taken all those videos and I put them into one with a few extra nuggets, and I did it in a more entertaining way. Well, this is just the Payments Professor's way of saying there's a lot more to come when it comes to how I'm doing and how I'm producing videos, but I also want to make sure that you're aware of everything that happened at the New York Cash Exchange. Enjoy this video and let me know your thoughts at the end.
Why do you invest?
Why do I invest? Because I want a return on my money. I don't want it to sit there and earn nothing.
Well, I think it's a matter of really taking an assessment of your cash inflows and outflows. So we have some clients who will do that on a very high level, and we have some clients that can do it on a more granular level.
You can put in as much resources as you want into a cash forecast. So the more resources, the more precise it is, the more precise you can be with your investing.
And we look at that thing every single month. We get about 45 line items. It's crucial for us to have it as accurate and complete as possible. For us, it's a formal process. We do it each year. I cannot stress enough to make it formalized.
Well, I think despite an entity's size, a regular review is prudent. So whether a regular review to you means an annual review or a biannual review or every 3 years, I think some sort of periodic review is really important no matter the size of the company.
attack within that account is somebody gaining credentials to that account, using that account to send emails out from that account, whether it's spam, whether it's targeted attacks towards for fraudulent payments, whatever it can be. Multiple things that they can do once they're actually inside that account.
One of the ways that treasurers care about this is within an organization. I was telling the treasurer this the other day. Within his organization, once their Office 365 has been compromised, they can actually be sending emails to people telling them to initiate payments, and they were not the ones who sent it.
In my experience, it's the working hours of whatever country is perpetrating the attack. They have their business hours, they clock in at 9, they clock out at 5, so you can see attacks happening during those business hours of the country perpetrating the attack.
They're going to try and find a time when you're harried and you're sort of at the end of your rope. And so they're going to try and do it at the end of the day when you're trying to get away for the weekend, or they're going to do it during quarter close or during month end. And they're going to do it when they think that you don't want to harass the person that has to secondarily authorize it.
Historically focused on three things for Treasury technology: productivity, visibility, improved controls. And those are great objectives for a Treasury organization, and certainly great objectives for a Treasury management system implementation, but they're just the start. Alone, they are not enough, for the simple reason that CFOs want to see value. Now, value, what does that mean? It means some sort of bottom line impact. Whether it's cost reduction, whether it's revenue increase, whether it's protection of cash flow. From things like currency and FX volatility. Those are the sort of things we talk about when we say value, and it's the underpinning of any Treasury system project. If you can show value, and I do stress show value, because just doing it is great, but proving it and demonstrating it to the CFO and to senior management is what's critical to helping Treasury become perceived as more strategic and valuable to the organization.
I would say the very first thing to do is to just always keep learning. You need to stay relevant, you need to stay on top of everything that's changing in the industry. Keep learning, keep developing your skills. It's your career, you have to own it.
Work hard, be committed, and surround yourself with colleagues and mentors. Always look for the next steps. Actions speak louder than words. Go above and beyond.
Create yourself a plan. To keep with that plan, you have to be flexible.
Not be so micro-focused, but more macro-focused on the big picture. The 60-30-10 goes to 60% of your personal development should be on the job. 30% should be through building a network, an external network. And then the other 10% book learning and conference learning.
What does that data mean? What does that look like? How do we identify that data?
Approach it from an outcome perspective. What data set do you need for that outcome? I think what you want to do is drive outcomes data set by data set.
There's a lot of power to be gained by having the information you need in a data lake.
It's about the outcomes, and if you can't rely on those outcomes, you've really got nothing. That data's got to be pristine.
The example that we spoke about was a single fisherman in Indonesia who's catching fish that are eventually going to wind up on your dinner plate here in New York. And the question is, how can you keep track at every step along the way?
One thought about problems differently. They were in many ways data experts, so they'd either come from data roles, curious about data, curious about new technology. And I'd say the last one is within that group, we had some folks that were confident enough to be challengers. So
in the 80s, I know it was, you better check yourself, but he said now you need to disrupt yourself.
That's right, you have to disrupt yourself.
I've just disrupted myself.
This is the 37th year of the New York Cash Exchange, and we had 65 sessions, and every session that I went to was fantastic, and we're looking forward to the 38th year next year in 2020.
Wow, and I got to tell y'all, New York Cash Exchange next year in 2020. Folks, 65 sessions this year. Most of the sessions I went to today, you had standing room only, and if you've been to a conference before, you know on day 3, it's not always like that. That tells you how big of a draw a lot of these sessions were. Now, if you got any questions, you got any comments, you can always go to the Team Manny website. What is that?
teammanny.org, or you can find us on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Twitter.